Thank you, Mama. I'm really both honored and humbled to be the members of the party, the new members, ladies and gentlemen. Rubang Beng, Karibuchu. Thank you very much. I was here feeling both proud and jealous. Yes, I was feeling proud because my brothers are getting actually names from Northern Uganda. But at the same time, I was feeling jealous because they are getting very nice names. The people in Nalukoola, in Honorable Senyenyi's constituency, interestingly had nicknamed him Oteka. And now you call him Oteka Moy. Said, hey, all good things are going to go to this guy. And then, as if that was not making me jealous enough, I heard you name our Secretary General Otim. I said, now this man, when you go back, is going to become Otimongoya. I welcome you, comrades, to the team of wonderful names. Friends, I'm very glad that we're meeting here today in Northern Uganda, and I'm talking to you standing on Acholi land. This is a victory. Why? Because there is every effort to stop us from meeting physically. That artificial construct of NUP is only in Uganda. It's constructed by the regime. They are deliberate. They are intentional to divide us and keep us away from each other, because they know as soon as we meet physically, we are going to realize we are brothers and sisters and connect immediately. So they use taxpayers, they use propaganda and all manner of machinations to keep us apart. So it is a victory just for us to be meeting on Acholi land. Seven, do you know this one? Do they know this one? They have no idea. Do they know that spear? Do they know this one? As a culture man, I respect our African culture. And I don't care what anybody thinks, but when you come to my home, you will find me meeting my guests where I proudly place all these spears and shields that I get from all over the country. These are signs of endorsement, they are signs of acceptance, they are signs of love. So I appreciate the gestures, ladies and gentlemen. So much has been said. I want to appreciate our friends, the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom in Africa, for making this possible. Thank you, friends. So much has been mentioned. I also want to appreciate the presence of our senior comrade, Honorable Kirooto. We don't take for granted your presence here, my brother. We appreciate you. And yes, like the Secretary General said, I cannot wait to slaughter my bull and enjoy it the day you go to official enjoyment. But we can wait patiently. Now, friends, so much has been said. Gave me words of wisdom. Now, a short while before he passed away, he called me to his house and told me, my son, I hear all that you say. I hear when you express your anger and disappointment about this regime. But I want you, moving forward, to be talking less of your anger and shining a light on the alternative, on what you plan, you and your friends, what you plan to do for this country. And I listen to him. And moving forward, I'll try to follow that advice. But please underline the word try. Why? Because it is very hard not to mention the pain, the clear pain of the people. But today, I will not talk about that pain. However, permit me to take us a little back. It is when you analyze a problem, that is when you're going to decide the right solution for that problem. For example, how did we all get here? How did we all become enslaved? Because it's not a question. We are slaves on the land of our forefathers. The Acholi and Lango and all people in northern Uganda are slaves. You are slaves on the land of Jipil and Labong. The Bagisu are slaves on the land of Masaba. The Baganda, where I come from, are slaves on the land of Chintu. And this has cut across the entire country. But how did we get here? How did we end up enslaved and divided and hating each other instead of hating the enemy? How did we get here? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind all of us that we are victims. Not just us. Me, I think I'm older than majority of you here. If you are above 43, let me see your hand. You see? If you're 44 years, if you're above. No, if you are 44 and above, they are fewer and fewer. That means majority of you are younger than me or my age. And yet me, I was only 4 years when Museveni came to power. What does that mean? Majority of us here were not born. That means we are victims and our parents were victims. We are all victims. Our parents were victims of oppression and of violence and of lies. And for us, we are victims of lies and brainwash. My brothers and sisters, this has been deliberate. It has been done by Museveni and his people, smartly and intentionally and deliberately. It started way back in the times of Idi Amin. Museveni was strategic. He planned this. It started way back in the days of Idi Amin. For example, you remember the murder and disappearance of the former Chief Justice of Uganda, Ben Chiwanuka. Some of you that research, I want you to go because all the information is online. It's on TikTok, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere. I want you to go and follow the account of Hussein Lumumba Amin. And you will find out that it is very, very possible in 90% that Museveni and his fellow criminals of Fronasa in 1984 actually are claimed to have abducted Ben Chiwanuka. In the drones of those days, the car belonged to Museveni. You choose something. Museveni wrote about that car in his book, Sowing the Mustard Seed. And he said he was parked in Mbale, where the government forces of President Idi Amin attacked those terrorists. Amin survived. Museveni survived. His friends did not survive. He wrote about it, not knowing it will come back later. Now, Ben Chiwanuka was abducted up to today. Is not seen. In the same tactics that are happening today. That was intended to make all of us, especially the people in Uganda, to hate President Idi Amin. And it worked. It worked. We all grew up hating him until the truth started coming out. That did not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. In 2004, in Bushenyi while they were burying Adonia Tiberondwa, a former UPC member. Kainda Otafire came out as if a ghost had come on his head, and he confessed that Museveni and his people would put on UPC uniform and go in the villages in Uganda and slaughter people. These are not my words. These words came from the mouth of Kainda Otafire. These people would dress like UPC. They would go kill people, child, mother, father, everything. And then later on, they would come and pretend to be fighting for our people. And that is how the hate in Uganda against Obote and his people started. That's why I'm telling you, we are victims of propaganda and lies. We were set up against each other, to hate each other, and it worked. Until the truth came out. So we grew up hating each other. When Museveni took over in 1986, they had collaborations with people. Our uncle, his name is Andrew Rotakome Kaira. He was one of the rebels that spoke to Museveni and agreed to work together. But the hypocrite and liar that Museveni is, Kaira was kicked and shot dead in 1987. But that is not the story. Where is the story? When Kaira's forces joined Museveni, they were largely Baganda. But after the elimination of Kaira, those Baganda soldiers, they were under Museveni, and as a soldier, you just take orders. They were deployed in northern Uganda. This is a conversation that I had with one of the Acholi leaders. Because in our generation, we were trying to find out, how come Kabaka Mutesa and Daudi Ochieng, we are best of friends? How come Kabaka Mwanga and the old leaders of Acholi we are friends? How come that we were so in love that even the most important place in Uganda, Kololo, is named in an Acholi language? How come we are not friends anymore? So this elder told me the story. He said after Museveni took over, the Baganda soldiers, those that belonged to Kaira, they didn't have a leader anymore. They were deployed here and they ordered to massacre. And yes, those Baganda soldiers under the orders of Museveni carried out those massacres. Tell me why the Acholi and Lango and people of northern Uganda would not hate us. So yes, we were set up against each other by the same man. This went on, and it worked for Museveni until the truth came out. That is not enough. I want you, comrades, to go and research. You have your smartphones in your hands. I want you to go and research about a genocide that they call a brilliant genocide or a silent genocide that was carried out here in northern Uganda. For so many years. Why? That was not only a revenge against former President Milton Obote. No, it was to disempower, to dehumanize, to break the people of northern Uganda. That is how we got here. It happened for a long, long time. I have watched many documentaries, and in that documentary, unfortunately, Robert Mao, who spoke very painfully for the people of Acholi against that man that used the military to dehumanize them, to destroy their livelihood, to destroy their education, to destroy their future. This was done in northern Uganda, just like everywhere, just like in Busoga, just like in Karamoja, etc., etc. It is so painful that when we were growing up, the people of northern Uganda had been the most educated. And today, the older generation in northern Uganda is more educated than the young generation. Because it was a deliberate destruction of our people. Unfortunately, the culprit makes sure that he transfers the accountability and the blame to somebody else. our generation. That is how we got here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to go back. Those that are my age, you would see some of us when I was still an artist. There are so many times when we came here with NGOs singing songs, and the Secretary General talked about it. I have a brother called Father Anton who sang, "We are Museveni, we are happy to receive you here in Gulu. The situation is poor," and all that and all that and all that. But Museveni was looking at us and silently laughing at us. We were with so many people. I have a brother called Loketoli who was my bodyguard and fellow artist. He sang a song, "Chanpacholiwe chane chitiko, Chanpacholiwe chane chitiko, but we don't care, we don't mind, but we don't mind, we don't care. Hey, Chanpacholiwe chane chitiko." You know that song? I produced that song. We tried to use music. We sang the song with all artists, including the Chameleons, the Bosmicotines, and others. And we came here and did a concert. That concert was called 3 Hours Away, so far and yet so near. Some of you that were not too young, you were following. All that in the love, but we had to find out what is the source of all that. Ladies and gentlemen, having done all that, some of you are still wondering why Museveni still wields power here. You will ask yourselves, how come then most senior leaders subscribe to NRM? Why most senior leaders here in Acholi, privately they will tell you, my brother, but we have no option. But when Museveni comes, they bow down. I'll tell you a very quick story. There was a Russian dictator called Joseph Stalin. One day Joseph Stalin was talking to his commanders, and he said, "You know what? Today I want to educate you on how to make people subdued and answer to you regardless." He got a live chicken. He started plucking off one feather by one. The chicken was in pain, crying, but he was plucking it, until the chicken lost all the fingers. It was there shaking in so much pain, blood oozing from some places. The chicken was there helpless. Then Stalin told him, "Watch me carefully." He got pieces of grain, started throwing to the chicken as he moves. And guess what? The chicken started painfully picking those grains and following Stalin. Picking the grains and following the Stalin. And he said, "This is exactly how it works. Crush them, destroy them, dehumanize them, break them, and then they will bow down to you and make you a god." That is what Museveni has done. Not only to northern Uganda, he has done it to Buganda, he has done it to Busoga, he has done it to Karamoja, he has done it to everybody. That is how we ended up here. Slaves, but divided. Instead of hating the enemy, we hate each other. Instead of blaming the enemy, we are blaming each other. That is called the Stockholm syndrome, where your oppressor will oppress you and force you to love them because you are convinced that you have no option. My brothers and sisters, that is the way they have been able to crush us. That the people in Uganda that used to sing the system for Longoto are now going down to praise the same system. That is how it has happened when he kills your people. He kills your child, then tomorrow sends you 5 million and you bow down. That is how Sejirinya's mother, after killing